Hey, I'm Ziv, and this is On the Journey. Every week on the journey explores the intersection of wellness, spiritual inquiry, mental health, personal growth, and purposeful living through the eyes of the people we interview. And today I am happy to host Alison, and we're going to talk about worthiness, which I would love to know what does it actually means. So, Alison, enlighten me.
Well, thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here. And of course, to talk about worthiness, because I believe worthiness is the foundation of every single choice that we make. It's every decision, it's how we interact with people. It is the foundation of all of it. And so I love talking about it.
Wonderful, wonderful. So let's talk. Let's start with, I think I know what it means, but I'm not sure. So let's just make sure we both talk about the same thing. So what is worthiness for you?
Well, worthiness is that understanding that you have inherent value. And we talk about this worthiness and we toss the word around without really understanding in our core what it means. And if we could just go back to basics, you were born, that makes you miraculous, which makes you worthy. Right? We don't look at a baby and say, oh, yeah, no, not a miracle. We look at a baby and go, wow, this is incredible. And then we are born, come out into the world, and the world tells us we're not good enough, we're not pretty enough, smart enough, tall enough, smart enough, short enough, fast enough, whatever enough, and we believe it. And then we spend the rest of our time trying to get our worth from those people, those the Hollywood stories, the books, all of that that tells us we're not good enough, and then we lose our worth. But we have to get back to that place where we know we're worthy.
So Alison, that's a great point. At some point in my life, I tried to calculate the chances for me to be here, and I got to the conclusion it's way lower than winning the lottery. Like by far, it's like almost the chances are so low that it's unbelievable that I'm here, and that my grandparents met, and all of that happened to the point that I will be here and right now, which is unbelievable. And I looked at my life and I said, "Oh my God, what a shame! The chances that I will be here are so low, and look what I'm doing with my time." And I felt so embarrassed and worthless. So the question is, how do we, okay, so for us to be here, it's a miracle. And then many of us, me for sure, years ago, look at our lives and say, ugh.
Yeah, they think there's so many things working against us. And essentially we get our worth one of two ways. We're either going to get it internally, I am okay regardless of what you are saying or doing. And I can stay in this place of neutrality because your behavior doesn't impact my worth. Or, which obviously is a really great place to be, and that's what we should strive for. Or we can say, I need you to be, see, and do something in order for me to feel like I have value. So I need you to respond in a certain way. And then if you don't, I have to manipulate the situation, work really, really hard, either to make you feel bad so I feel powerful, or to convert you to believing things my way, in order for me to feel like I have value. And you can see how that's just not sustaining. But that is the way most people go through their day.
Mhm. Trying to get the reactions they need from the environment so they will feel worthy.
Yeah, so that we just feel okay because we have forgotten that we are worthy, full stop. The ugly bits of ourselves, the beautiful bits of ourselves, all of that is worthy. And so we end up beating ourselves up because we didn't get an A on that exam. And then we're so stupid and we call ourselves names and we do all of that stuff. And then those voices inside of us, we shrink them and only want to hear the ones that we think give us value. But it's the value of hearing all of the voices, acknowledging all of the voices, understanding that we are all on this same journey together, all of the voices inside of us, all of the good bits, the bad bits, the neutral bits, they're all part of us. And if we can stop denying that they are part of us and embracing them and see them as signs that's helping us get back to our worth, we would go through life so very differently.
Totally, totally. In a paraphrase, and most people, when they are sad, if I will talk with them logically about why they are sad, I'm sure I can come with a very logic or make sense explanation why there's no reason for them to be sad. But that won't change their mood, right? So I can tell you, hey, Alison, it doesn't make sense that you're sad because of A, B, C, and most chances it won't affect you, maybe even to the worst. So with worthiness, like I can understand, okay, so I understand what you're saying. I don't know how I can make myself feel what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I really believe in that.
Right.
So my mind can understand it, but how do I feel worthy?
Yeah, and that is such an excellent point because that's what most people do. Oh, you have no reason to be sad. Stop being sad. But it's like telling a child to stop asking for their mother's attention. Mom, 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 stop it, stop it. Mom, mom, mom. When you're on the phone, right? Like that's what happens when we just try to ignore those parts. They just get louder and more annoying. But one of the things that we can do is when we find ourselves in interaction, give ourselves the gift of space. So when we feel like we are uncomfortable in a situation, if we feel like we're like needing something, take a moment and create space and ask yourself, where's my worth coming from right now? Am I going to be okay regardless of what that other person does? And the more we do that, when we enter into situations, the more we say, oh, I'm having an argument with my child. Where's my worth coming from right now? Why am I engaging this way? What is my part of making this so icky? Then we're able to take that step back and go, whoa, we get to own what we're bringing into that situation, which boosts our worth because we're seeing that little kid that's saying, mom, 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 right? We're able to see that child. We're able to see that part of us that's acting out, bring it back in, take a deep breath, and stop with the damage. But unless we start asking ourselves where our worth is coming from, unless we understand the difference between the internal and the external worth, it's really hard to change it.
So the practice is through those daily ongoing interactions. So every time we're in that interaction, we need to stop, observe, see where the worth comes from, and train on it, like each time to do it again and again until it's internalized.
Mm-hmm.
And I have two questions. One, how do we stop? Is this the same mindfulness method, like always just trying to be in the moment? Is there any other way? Because when my kid drives me crazy, I'm crazy.
It's hard to find space. We actually practice with things that aren't as charged without that hard emotional thing. When I'm putting on makeup in the morning, I can look in the mirror and I can say, where's my worth coming from in putting on my makeup? Why am I doing this? Who am I doing this for? Right?
So
And
trying
then
to starting easy, starting small and easy.
always start with something simple. Do not pick the biggest problem in your life because you won't be successful. But when you are looking at buying a new car, why are you buying that car? Who's it for? Who are you trying to impress? Is it a car that you love being in? Or is it another, like I drive a Jeep and somebody said to me, what's your dream vehicle? And I'm like, my Jeep. And they're like, that can't be. And I'm like, oh, this date's over. But right, I'm not doing it for the person I'm dating. I'm doing it for me. The house that we live in, the jobs that we have. Just start taking that time and saying, why am I doing these things? Is it for them or is it for me? And the more we can bring it back to, it's for me. Like, yes, maybe I got into social work because I wanted to save people because nobody took care of me when I was young, right? That's a very external kind of thing. You want to fix them so you feel better about yourself. But if you're able to go through it and go, okay, I understand that was my reason for getting into it initially, but now how can I do this for me? How can I show up every day where I'm in my worth? So
So
everything we do ties back to our worth, every single decision we make.
definitely. So that brings the second question. When you say we do it for me, it sounds like we're supposed to have some anchor, okay? Because when I say me, I need in a way to understand what is that me, because many times we're defined by other people. And you say,
Yeah.
no, don't be defined by others. Try to understand what you want, but many times what I want is what others told me that I want it. So what is that anchor that puts me in the situation where I feel worthy and enough as I am and not as what others want? How do I find that anchor inside of me?
I think it's just always being curious, always just holding yourself accountable. Is this truly mine? Is my religion, or did I inherit it? Right? We just have to question these things. And it's in the questioning of it, do we actually start feeling more and more anchored? Because then we can say, oh, wow, I am involved in this religion because my parents were, and their parents were, and their parents were. And I didn't think I had a choice. Now, at that moment, you get to decide, but I do like this religion. And so I want to stay. But now I'm doing it for me consciously. And you can also make the decision like, whoa, I've never liked this. It's not easy. The more we do it, the easier it gets. And it's not easy because, as you say, it is so layered. It's layered with guilt and shame from the time we were born, us being told what feels good and what doesn't feel good. So it is time and being gentle with ourselves and enlisting in some processes of creating that space, because that space is a huge gift that you're going to give to yourself and others.
So creating the space, being gentle, taking the time, understanding that we're going on a journey, right?
Mhm.
Through all these layers, and to try all the time to get back to what I really want and from where my worth comes.
Mhm.
Good summary.
Where am I most aligned to who I was when I was that baby that was born? And I know that there seems to be a huge, I'm 51. There was a huge distance between me and when I was born. And a lot of things have influenced it, things that I will never even begin to imagine. But our soul knows what's right for us. And then our head gets involved, and maybe our heart gets involved, and some of our feelings get involved, but our soul always knows. And so when we can create that space, when we can have that quiet, that's when we can hear it.
Definitely. Alison, thank you so much, so much
Oh, my
for
pleasure.
helping me to feel more worthy and to. I feel that I got a few very practical methods how to work on my worthiness daily. So thank you so much, so much.
Thanks for having me.
It was totally my pleasure. Thank you, Alison.